was already wearing tight pants.
Tight pants.
I just
Touch
did not
yourself.
activate them.
Slow body rolls.
Body roll,
Yeah.
high kick,
Feel that
This is how we do it.
vagus nerve. Get your parasympathetic digestion. Ready? Here we go! Woo! Yeah! Made a jazz. She wore the tightest of body rolls. High kicks. Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's it.
Hello, my fellow broke aristocrats. It's me, Dr. Whimsy, and I'm shooting this on the second day of the Healthy Brain conference that we're having here in Los Angeles with the CNDA. And today we had a really great lecture on how to treat post-traumatic stress disorder with natural medicine. And I thought that that would be a really great topic because unfortunately so many Americans suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm in the back. We just had lunch. It was interesting because we went through all the pharmacological medications that are used to treat post-traumatic stress disorder, and I was trying to think of, what tips and what support could I give people that suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder that would not cost any money. I want to first start off by saying that they first made a distinction between an acute trauma versus post-traumatic stress disorder. An example of an acute trauma would be being in a car accident and then being traumatized or frightened of getting into a car, and that trauma or fear of driving can go on for weeks. That's a little bit different than post-traumatic stress disorder. That's an acute stress trauma, and usually it wears off after a couple of weeks. In the case of post-traumatic stress disorder, however, it doesn't wear off, and there's often shame around the initial trauma. A person feels ashamed, or they want to get away from the very thing that caused the trauma in the first place, and then they might act out certain types of behavior in order to heal or deal with the shame associated with the initial trauma. And that can sometimes lead to self-medication, which we've talked about here on Broke Aristocrats, taking drugs, drinking alcohol. Also, other types of behaviors associated with PTSD, a desire to be alone, feeling isolated, feeling that no one understands us. The first thing that the physician talked about is the importance of listening, honoring, and validating. So that's the first thing that we can take away from the lecture that I had on PTSD that I would share with you, is that she talked about just how powerful it is to truly honor and listen to people. And unfortunately in this society, we don't always learn to be good listeners. One of the most powerful things that we can do for one another is to stop our busy day and sit down and really listen without judgment to what other people are going through. And that is in and of itself incredibly powerful and incredibly therapeutic. To really listen to people, to really hear what people are saying, in and of itself can be a powerfully therapeutic experience for anyone who's dealing with trauma like post-traumatic stress disorder. So the ability to listen and the ability to be heard, the power of listening, that tremendous healing can take place in an environment where we simply take a moment to really take in what someone's saying and hear them. The second thing she talked about was something that I had heard in other courses I've gone to, other conferences, which is the power of mindfulness or meditation. Mindfulness or meditation, the ability to calm the mind through some type of therapeutic mindfulness or meditation technique. The ability to calm the mind through some kind of meditative technique. whether it's prayer work or something more directed like biofeedback. In my office, for example, we do something which is called Alpha Stim, which is a special type of machine that we attach to the ears, and it gives a light impulse, and it helps calm people down who are dealing with stress and anxiety. So mindfulness and various different mindfulness techniques, transcendental meditation, Vipassana meditation, which has been researched in prison populations, spiritual work or meditation from a religious perspective. Some people on Broke Aristocrats have mentioned that they do that through their church. All of those techniques, the different types of mindfulness techniques, seem to be incredibly therapeutic and powerful for anyone who's dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. The third thing came up was listening to sacred text or sacred chanting or prayers. An example would be Gregorian chanting, listening to prayers or chants or sacred music had a incredibly therapeutic or calming effect on anyone that has anxiety disorders. Simply hearing the prayers being very, very beneficial. The other thing that came up was exercise, the importance of physically getting up and moving, exercising, because physical activity raises serotonin, and suppressed serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter that gives us feelings of being calm or peaceful. When the serotonin is low, that is one of the things we see in people who suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder. So being physically active, getting out and moving can raise neurotransmitters like serotonin and give us a happier disposition. This is why people who go out and they exercise every day have dramatically improved mood. It's one of the reasons. It also increases oxygen to the brain, and we think that that may also be helpful for brain health. Finally, this is something else I've talked about in the past, and that is known as forest bathing. Spending time in the forest, spending time in nature, simply sitting. You don't have to be super physically active, but simply being in the presence of nature, meditating or being in a quiet place of nature can have a profound impact on mental health. So those were 5 simple tips from me to you that I took away from today's conference on healthy brain on the topic of post-traumatic stress disorder. And none of those suggestions cost a lot of money. All right, I want to thank you for watching this brief video of Broke Aristocrats. Be sure and share, like, subscribe. Tell me what you're doing to take care of yourself and those you love without breaking the bank. You know we care. And I will see you back in Los Angeles for a tea time the next time you see me. And hopefully we'll have another great topic. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.